Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's going to be reviewing the Nissan Armada. Before we get in this video though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Tim Daly Nissan here in Murray, Utah for giving me some time with this Armada. I'm going to include a link to their inventory in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. If you have any questions, just ask for Jeff. And then on a side note, if you're going to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Under the hood, we have a naturally aspirated 5.6 liter V8 that goes through a 7-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 13 around town and then 18 on the highway, with power outputs being 400 horsepower and then 413 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we go over the front end, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting with the hood itself, you guys can see it's just like flat there in the center and then kind of, raises up on either side. Really cool daytime running lights here with the LED headlamps, and then you guys can see we've got some parking sensor action down below with some fog light action as well. And then we got Nissan's smiley face chrome grille here with the new Nissan logo, and then parking sensors here on the front end. And putting it all together, the refreshed front end with the Armada looks pretty sweet. Coming around the side here, our tire and wheel setup is 275, 50, 22 in the front and over in the rear as well. You guys can see the coloration on the wheels, how it's metallic gray. That looks really good. We've got these body painted fender flares right here, and notice we got the V8 badge there on the side with our little chrome accent piece. Chrome on the mirrors and on the door handles too. And then notice here with the side steps how it's kind of like built in with the bodywork. And then if we take a few steps back, we can see the full side profile here with the Armada, which I think looks pretty sweet. Okay, so here's our key fob for the Armada. We've got the new Nissan logo, we have remote start, we've got our lock and unlock, and then the opening for the hatch. Now popping to the rear of the Armada, first off, there's a decent amount of storage space behind the third row. This is more Tahoe size than Suburban size though, if you're wondering. You guys can see the 12-volt socket right there. And then notice the controls for the seats to automatically raise and lower them. And with the seat lowered down, you can see there's quite a bit more storage space. I mean, I could basically lay down, that's crazy. When you're all done, just press that button right there and that will lower the hatch right back down. Really cool looking taillights here on the back end, and then notice the Armada badge there with the Nissan logo. We've got our Platinum badge down below, and then more parking sensors here on the rear with the bezel that covers the receiver hitch. And putting it all together, I want you guys to let me know what you think about the styling here on the new Armada. Taking a look at the door panel here in the rear, you guys can see the stitching here, and then look at like the leather trim here, very like squishy, that's for sure, and even on the door handle as well, but plenty of space in the door. And then here are these seats. You guys can see quilted here in the center portion, and these seats are very open so that you could fit a very large individual in them. Now legroom here in the rear is actually really good. We've got this little storage cubby here. We actually have TVs here on the back as well. We've got our own climate zone down below. We have heated seats on top of that, and got this cool center console with some cup holders and then tons of storage space. So it's kind of a nice little like luxury place to be, that's for sure. Now the third row function's pretty interesting, so just pull this latch, push this down, and the seat pops up. Now sitting here in the third row, my legs are actually kind of like pushed up, especially like my knees, and that's because you can see the difference in the floor, right? It's higher up here. Notice I got the recline function though here in the back, and then headroom, it's pretty decent. Now taking a look at the front door panel, it's identical to the rear with all of the trim. We've got all of our window controls here with our mirror adjustments. The mirrors do power fold in, by the way. Memory seat function. We've got blind spot monitoring in the mirrors on top of that. And then here's the front seat. You guys can see quilted all down the center portion. We've got our power adjustments. And then for those of you wondering on the payload capacity, 1,455 pounds. And then you guys can see here with the hatch to open it up, that's for the heated steering wheel, some of the safety tech, and then that's to turn off the power door, I suppose. Steering wheel is power adjustable. So here is the steering wheel. We've got really nice leather trim all around. This comes with stuff like adaptive cruise control. You've got your volume controls for the center stack, and you guys can see turn signal light stock, windshield wiper stock as well. And here's a closer look at those controls, by the way, because lighting's horrible right now. So here is the gauge cluster. So you guys can see that we've got the analog part and then the digital part. I can basically scroll through a bunch of different menus here to see different bits of info on the vehicle, systems within the vehicle. Then you guys can see fuel economy as well there in the center. So we've got this 360 camera system. You guys can see we've got the bird's eye view here, and we do have the trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel out of the rear view as well. Now, as for the rest of the infotainment system, first off, we have this little shortcut bar here at the bottom, as you can see, which for small time with it's great. We have this auxiliary screen here on the side, which I guess it's just to make the infotainment system bigger. Like, it is the main part. This isn't touchscreen, by the way. We've got analog controls here for the radio, and then you guys can see for the dual zone climate, we also have heated and ventilated seats here in the Armada. Then we have this little special storage area here, so for the wireless phone charging pad, and a little 12 volt there as well. And then look at the wood trim here. Got the trailer brake controls on top of that, and then some USB action. Shifter for the 7-speed automatic transmission, and then we've got our little like drive line select is what we'll call it, so we can pop into 4-wheel low if we want. You can kind of see that there at the top. Got our tow mode, got our stability control here, snow mode as well, and then got some cup holder action here. And look at the wood trim here. And this is the analog control for the infotainment system if you don't want to use the touchscreen for some reason. And then opening this up, pretty big center console, which is nice. It's got nice padding here on the top. And then here's the glove box, by the way. And then look at like the dash. Got some nice trim all over. And then we do have a rear view camera mirror, which you guys know I'm a huge fan of. It's a nice bit of safety tech. And then just a regular sunroof here at the top. So you guys can see the base MSRP on this Platinum, $69,200. Total MSRP, $73,465. Let's see how it drives. Okay, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's visibility over the hood, both of the mirrors, and throughout the rest of the rear. And this is gonna be a pretty short test drive because this thing is basically out of gas. So anyways, I have driven the Armada quite extensively. I've had, I think, 1 or 2 as a tester. I've also had the QX80 as a tester a couple times. That is just the luxury version of the Armada, but this is a Platinum Armada, which is the luxury version of the Armada as well. And so this is basically a QX80. So like what I'm trying to say is I know how the vehicle drives. So first off, the 5.6 liter V8, it's such a good powertrain. It's got so much torque. I'm actually gonna have to turn right here. Like I said, world's shortest test drive. It's got so much torque. It sounds really good. I mean, listen to this. It moves. It really does move. It gets pretty good fuel economy. I mean, the fuel economy rating, not the greatest on the window sticker, but you can get pretty good in terms of real world, because I feel like a lot of cars you can't get what the window sticker says, but this is one of the ones you definitely can, at least from my experience. And aside from that, like, the seats are comfortable. My only complaint with these is the bolsters are so open, which is great if you're like 300 plus pounds. But me being about 200 pounds, like, I slide all over the seat, right? So it's yeah, it's definitely a seat that I wish was a little bit more like aggressive with the bolstering, just a little bit more. But aside from that, I mean, this is a good old-fashioned body on frame V8 powered SUV. I mean, we don't have that many of these left out in the world, and so just the fact that this exists, I think, is absolutely fantastic. And so good on Nissan for keeping this around for the time being. But let me know what you guys think about the Armada. Are you all about the Armada, or do you like the other vehicles in the segment, like, I don't know, the Sequoia, for example, the Tahoe, the GMC Yukon, or the Expedition? So be interested to hear on that.